Hi, I'm Alexander Maxim from YouTube and IO. Today we will continue our series about PHP. We will check three concepts: how to search an array, how to add values to an array, and how to remove from an array using the array methods. So we have array search, in array key exists, array and shift, array push, array pop, and array shift. Let's start. Firstly, we must create our arrays. For the indexed arrays, I have my array, which is friends, is an array. We have Alexander, Alex, and John. And for the associative arrays, so we have the indexed array, the friends, and for the associative array, we have the languages. So we have the key and the value. And now we will print the elements of the friends and the languages by the for each loop. I will pass friends as parameter, and for the key I will use friend parameter, and I will print by the echo friend. I will concatenate it with is my friend and a br to break the line. After that I will use the same thing, but I will firstly add a title 3, and I have my friends, and here the same thing. I will copy and use a title which is the languages. Then I will use the for each loop always to print the elements of my arrays. So we have languages key and languages value. I will print the languages key, and I will concatenate it with is the key of, and then I will use the languages value and a break line tag to break the line, and we have my friends and the languages. And now I want to search for a value in the friends array or in the languages array, and to do that we have many methods, search methods. I have for the indexed array the array search method and in array method, and for the associative arrays I have array key exists method. So let's start with the array search method. This method searches for a specified values and returns the key to the first element that holds this value if it succeeds. This method in the high stack array looks for the value of the needle. The needle is the value that we search, and the high stack is the array that we will search in. If the needle is a string, the comparison will be sensitive to the letters keys. This function returns the element key to the value of the needle if it's found in the array, or returns false if it's not found. So let's take an example to understand what this method does. And to do that we need another title h1 element of the sort methods, or sorry, the search methods, and I will start with the array search method. I will use an if condition. If the array search, the needle is the value, I will use Alex, for example, and the high stack is the array, and I will use friends array. If Alex or this value exists in friends, I will print the element exists, and I will just use array search as a method to understand that this sentence from the array search method. I will return and see the result array search methods. For the search methods I have array search and the element exists. So I have Alex in my friends array. What if I change here the value Alex like that and I reload? We have nothing. This is the array search method. And now let's explain in array method for the indexed arrays. The in array checks for a value in an array, the same as array search. It will return the key that holds the value if it succeeds, or false if it fails. Always we have three parameters: the haystack, needle, and the strict value. It will be true or false. Let's explain what's the strict parameter. If we make the third parameter true, the method will check if the needle and the value found in the haystack are equals. If they are equals, it will return the key, else it will return false. So let's take an example to understand what's the in array method. To do that, we need to copy and paste this code, and here we will use in array method. I will copy and paste the same here, and here I will use in array. We have the first parameter, the needle, the second is the haystack or the array, and the third parameter is the strict. We have two values, true and false. So by default it's false. So the comparison not sensitive, and when I change it to true, it will be sensitive. Let's reload and see. Now the element exists for the in array method. If I change the capital A to small a like that, Alex. So in the friends we have in capital, we have the value in a capital letter, and here we have the value in small letter. Let's reload and see, and we have nothing. Let's add an else. I will copy the same here and change just and add span with the style is the color is red, and we'll add not here. So the element not exists for from in array method. This is the in array, and this is the strict parameter. These two methods for the indexed array, and for the associative array we have array key exists method. What's the array key exists method? This method verifies that the key or indexes or the index exists with or within the array. The method returns the value true if the key is present, and false if the key is not present in the array. The array key exists will look for keys within the first dimension only. The function will not find nested keys in multi-dimensional array. So let's take an example to understand it more. And to do that, we need always a title. We'll use the array key exists. Then I will use the if condition. If array key exists, we will pass the array as parameter, the languages, because it's an associative array, or the value here, and the array in the second parameter. We will pass the value, for example, en. If the en exists in our array, we will print the element exists, and we change it array key exists, and the element exists, array key exists. If we change it to ENN, for example, let's reload and see the array key exists, we have nothing. If we remove the n, and here we have the key, the element exists, array key exists. This is what we have for the search methods. And now if you want to add a new friend for your array, you must use the array methods. And for the array methods, we have many methods, but we will explain the unshift and push methods. What's the unshift method? This method adds one or more elements at the beginning of the array. Note that the list of items enters the beginning of the array at once, so that the inserted elements remain in the same order. All the numeric array keys will be modified to start counting from scratch, while the craft keys will not change. Let's take an example. So for the indexed array, we will check this array to add a new friend, and to do that we need to use a title add methods, and we will use the unshift method. After that, I will use the array unshift method. I will pass the array, which is friends, and the variable or the values I will add Mike, for example. And now I will copy the for each with the title and paste the code here to see the difference between the normal and the array after we have added the element, after added the element. So my friends, we have Mike is my friend, Alexander is my friend, Alex and John, and here we have Alexander, Alex, John. So we have added Mike at the beginning of my friends array. The same thing for the push method. This method adds one or more elements at the end of the array. The array push function treats the array as a stack, drives the variables we passed to the end of the array, and increases its length by the number of variables we add. Let's take another example for the push, for the array push, and we need to copy all this code here. We just modify it by array push, and here we just we'll add Arden, and here push. I will reload and see again. I have Mike, my friend, Alexander, John, etc. And here we have Arden is the last element of my friends array in the push method. So the unshift will add Mike at the beginning of the array, and push it will add Arden in the end of my array. This is for unshift and push methods for the associative and indexed arrays. And now to remove an element or more from my array, we have many methods, but we will use shift and pop methods to remove elements from our array. Firstly, what's the shift? The shift method. The array shift removes the first element of the array and returns its value, shortening the array by one element and displacing all elements toward the beginning of the array. Modifies all the numerical keys of the array to start counting from scratch, while the literal keys do not change. Let's take an example to remove an element from my friends array. And to do that, we need firstly to change the title to remove methods. We will use unshift, but here we will use shift methods. We have used unshift, and now we will use shift method. And here we will use the shift. We will just pass the array as parameter. We reload and see our page. So we have the remove methods, shift method here, and we have Alexander, Alex, John, and Arden. So Mike has been removed from our array. The same thing for the pop method. Drives the last element of the array and returns its value, reducing the length of the array by one element. The method returns the value of the last element of the array. If the array is empty, the function returns the value null. It will give a warning error when used on a non-array value. So let's take an example for the pop method. I will copy and paste the same code, and here I will just modify the shift by pop, and I will reload and see. Firstly, we have our array of Alexander, Alex, John, and Arden. When we reload, we have Alexander, Alex, and John. So we have added Mike and we have removed Mike here in the shift. The unshift add at the beginning, and the shift remove from the beginning, and the push add in the end, at the end, and the pop remove from the end. So today we have learned the search methods. We have the array search in array for the indexed arrays. We have array key exists for the associative arrays. I've learned also how to add values in array by the unshift and push methods, and to remove from an array we use the shift and pop method. Thank you for your watching.